The date is April 23, 1990, and a Superstars of Wrestling taping is taking place in Austin, Texas. The air in the Frank Irwin Center crackles with an anticipation that transcends the typical house show buzz. On one side of the squared circle stands Tito Santana, the fiery El Matador, a perennial fan favorite. Across from him, bathed in the harsh glare of arena lights, is a man who embodies effortless athletic grace. A performer whose in-ring artistry is so fluid, so meticulously choreographed, it borders on the sublime. Curt Hennig, better known to the world as Mr. Perfect. This wasn't just another match, it was a coronation. In a display of technical brilliance, Mr. Perfect captured the Intercontinental Championship, a title he would hold for a combined total of 406 days, across 2 reigns, this victory marking the inception of his first. Yet despite his undeniable prowess, his impeccable physique, his natural charisma, and his uncanny ability to generate genuine animosity from the audience, a question lingered then and resonates even more powerfully today. Why was Mr. Perfect, a man seemingly sculpted by the wrestling gods themselves, never elevated to the main event status of World Heavyweight Champion? This is not merely a lament from nostalgic fans, it's a foundational inquiry into the often opaque machinations of professional wrestling's ultimate arbiter, Vince McMahon. Mr. Perfect possessed every conceivable attribute demanded of a top-tier performer. His look was immaculate, exuding an almost arrogant perfection down to his perfectly combed hair and meticulously selected ring attire. His in-ring skills were unparalleled, and his execution of even the most basic maneuvers was a masterclass in precision and impact, whether it was a simple hip toss or a perfectly timed dropkick. On the microphone, he was gold, his smug declarations and disdainful dismissals cutting through the arena like a perfectly aimed insult, often accompanied by his signature gum slapping. He could generate genuine, palpable heat, the kind that transformed cheers into boos and indifference into rabid engagement. He was, in essence, the complete package. He held the Intercontinental Championship, a prestigious title in its own right, yet the ultimate prize, the World Heavyweight Championship, consistently eluded him. Many a wrestling pundit and fan theorized that McMahon harbored a bias towards physically imposing, larger-than-life champions. Figures like Hulk Hogan, whose colossal stature filled the arena and projected an almost mythic aura. Yet this theory crumbles under the weight of its own contradictions when one considers the ascension of Bret the Hitman Hart, a champion who stood a mere 6 feet tall. Mr. Perfect, by contrast, measured in at a respectable 6 feet 3 inches. Was there something more personal at play, an inexplicable friction between McMahon and Hennig? The tragic and infamous Plane Ride from Hell, where a drunken altercation with Brock Lesnar reportedly led to Hennig's eventual dismissal, provides a somber postscript to a career that for many remains unfulfilled. The case of Mr. Perfect serves as the quintessential example of a performer whom Vince McMahon, for reasons still debated and dissected, seemingly refused to push to the very top, despite possessing all the tools and more for main event immortality. But Mr. Perfect was not an isolated incident. The annals of World Wrestling Federation history are replete with extraordinary talents who, for various reasons, never quite reached the zenith their abilities promised. Consider, for instance, the imposing figure of King Kong Bundy. A mountain of a man, weighing in at over 450 pounds, Bundy embodied the quintessential monster heel of the 1980s. He was colossal, intimidating, and possessed a deceptively agile mobility for his immense size, often surprising opponents with his speed in the ring. Bundy's career highlight remains his main event clash with Hulk Hogan for the championship in a steel cage match at WrestleMania 2, a testament to his drawing power and credibility as a top-tier antagonist. He was a reliable worker, his avalanche splash in the corner and his impactful body slams creating significant damage and leaving opponents reeling. Yet despite headlining the biggest show of the year, Bundy never captured a single championship belt in the Federation. No Intercontinental, no Tag Team, certainly no World Championship. For a man of his impact and consistent performance, it seems almost inexplicable that he wouldn't have been given at least one meaningful run with the Intercontinental or Tag Team titles. His monstrous persona was perfect for dominating a mid-card division, providing compelling storylines and allowing other talent to chase him. Could it be that his lack of championship gold was a deliberate choice by McMahon, perhaps to preserve his aura as a pure, unadulterated monster, rather than a champion who might eventually be defeated and thus diminish his mystique? Or were there other factors at play, perhaps stemming from the eventual lawsuit he filed against the company decades later, hinting at deeper, long-standing grievances regarding royalties and health benefits? Bundy's case illustrates a pattern of McMahon recognizing raw talent and drawing power, yet often drawing an invisible line beyond which certain performers, for seemingly arbitrary reasons, were not allowed to cross. Then there is Kamala, the Ugandan Giant, a character steeped in exoticism and, regrettably, bordering on caricature. James Harris, the man behind the face paint, was a remarkably agile and dedicated performer who, like Bundy, served as a crucial monster heel during a formative period for the World Wrestling Federation. Kamala's primary role was to be a formidable, almost unstoppable force against whom the company's burgeoning heroes, most notably Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker, could test their mettle and emerge victorious, solidifying their heroic status in the eyes of the fans. His unique presentation, characterized by tribal paint on his face and body, a loincloth, and a silent, savage demeanor, often accompanied to the ring by his handlers, Kim Chi or Reverend Slick, captivated audiences and instilled a genuine sense of fear. Yet for all his impact and consistent utility, Kamala, too, never held a single championship in the Federation. The conversation surrounding Kamala's career often veers into uncomfortable territory, raising questions about whether elements of racism played a role in his portrayal and compensation. Accounts from Harris himself and various wrestling historians suggest he was often underpaid and undervalued compared to his white counterparts, even those performing at a similar level, reportedly sometimes receiving meager payouts for significant matches. While his character was undeniably effective in its time, one cannot ignore the troubling racial undertones inherent in a speechless, spear-wielding savage from Uganda. Was his lack of championship recognition tied to the perception of his character as an animalistic, non-human entity, rather than a legitimate competitor worthy of the company's highest honors? Or was it simply another instance of McMahon categorizing a talent for a specific role and rigidly adhering to that vision, regardless of the performer's potential for greater elevation? The tragedy of Kamala's story extends beyond the ring, with Harris suffering severe health issues, including limb amputations due to diabetes, highlighting the harsh realities faced by many wrestlers from that era, often without adequate financial safety nets from the promotions they helped build. And finally, we turn our attention to the colossal earthquake, John Tenta, a genuinely imposing figure at over 460 pounds. Earthquake burst onto the scene in 1990 as a true force of nature, a monster heel designed to provide a credible and formidable challenge to Hulk Hogan's seemingly unshakable dominance. His feuds with Hogan, particularly the infamous Earthquake squash angle where he injured Hogan's ribs on an episode of Superstars by repeatedly landing on him, were compelling, generating significant viewership and solidifying his monstrous reputation. Earthquake possessed an incredible combination of size, agility, and a surprisingly adept ability to execute his signature maneuver, the Earthquake Splash. While he eventually captured the Tag Team Championship with Typhoon as part of the Natural Disasters, a successful run that underscored his versatility and saw them dominate the tag division for a time, many fans and analysts contend that Earthquake was ripe for an Intercontinental Championship run, and perhaps even a brief, impactful reign as world champion. He had the ability to convincingly dismantle opponents, creating a sense of dread that few other heels could match. His relatively short individual run at the top, followed by a transition into the tag team division, suggests another instance where McMahon identified a powerful talent, utilized them effectively for a specific purpose, but then plateaued their individual progression. Was it a concern that his immense size might limit his long-term appeal as a top singles champion in a rapidly evolving landscape? Or was it simply a strategic decision to maximize the impact of his feuds with Hogan before moving him into a different, equally successful role within the company? The case of Earthquake, like Bundy and Kamala, highlights a recurring theme: McMahon's willingness to push certain individuals to the precipice of greatness, allowing them to shine brightly in specific capacities, only to seemingly deem them unworthy of the ultimate prize, often for reasons that remain opaque to outsiders. These case studies, Mr. Perfect, King Kong Bundy, Kamala, and Earthquake, form a compelling narrative thread within the broader tapestry of the Federation's golden era. They represent a curious paradox within Vince McMahon's creative philosophy: a keen eye for talent and a willingness to invest significantly in their presentation, juxtaposed with an apparent reluctance to elevate certain individuals to the company's absolute pinnacle. Was it about protecting the chosen few, the Hulk Hogans and Bret Harts, by ensuring the supporting cast, no matter how talented, never truly overshadowed them? Or was it a more capricious exercise of power? The absence of championship gold for these highly skilled performers speaks volumes, inviting us to peer behind the curtain of sports entertainment and contemplate the intricate, often arbitrary mechanisms of a powerful promoter's ultimate decision-making. Their stories fuel endless debates and the imagination of fans who ponder what might have been. By the way, if you want to see the first, albeit somewhat controversial, installment in this series, then check out this video right here. Federation stars Vince McMahon refused to push, and why? Just go ahead and click or tap the thumbnail appearing on your screen right now, and I will meet you there momentarily.